That's two family. Y'all already know how it goes. Your humble host, Cliffy Belafonte Jr., also known as Cliff Arachi, also known as Cliff with the Big Red Rope, and you are locked in to the Cliff Report right here on the Keyboard Gangster channel. Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe because we've got an update for you. Now, it's been reported that Lil Durk could potentially be facing additional charges. But before we get into those, you already know that Charleston White has been practically celebrating the idea of Durk catching new legal trouble. Charleston White took to Instagram and posted that he prayed in the name of Jesus and pleading the blood of Christ that what he called the violent leader of OTF gets either the death penalty or federal life in prison. He then went further, asking why people are upset with Chud The Builder if they can't bring themselves to say free Lil Durk, essentially arguing that, in his words, the two situations are connected. He closed the post by expressing support for Chud The Builder, signing off in his own name. Now, before we get fully into the new developments surrounding Lil Durk's charges, it's important to understand the backdrop here, because Charleston White has been very loud and very consistent in his support for Chud The Builder, and that context matters for everything that follows.
I fell in love with that white boy Chud. That white boy Chud is going around macing niggas. Pick up my hat, nigga.
You heard me, nigga. Fuck your shit.
Yeah. Yo.
He got Fendi glasses on. You ain't got shit. You got lens crafters on, pussy ass nigga. This dude, that's why he's making money and you ain't. And he got the V-Lone on. What you wearing? Your work shirt?
Bitch.
What does that say?
You're a bitch. Atlum. You ain't never gonna be nothing but a.
All you guys do is
You
talk.
can't look me in the eyes because you might be the
Are
nigga.
you on some shrooms or something? What are you
already
on?
told you I'm on your mama's sweet.
Okay, here.
Bitch.
You're a bitch, bro.
What you fucking looking at? You chimping out, nigga? I love Chud. I love Chud because you know what Chud is showing everybody? Black people are cowards. You can spit on them. You can call them niggers. They won't do nothing. But if another black person says, what's up? Say, nigga, what you looking at? They'll kill him. If another black person does the things that Chud is doing, white people can go back to mistreating black people. I swear to God. And black people ain't gonna do nothing but take it. Man, why really? Man, you know what's scary? They letting him walk around and stream it. Don't y'all walk around streaming and video recording us kicking each other ass? What's up, bitch? So what's wrong with Chud? What's wrong with Chud? I've never heard of him. I have. And I love him. I love a white man that'll look at one of you big ass niggas and say, what the fuck are you staring at, you monkey nigger? And now you're a nigger. White man can't never call me a nigga. We got one that's doing it, y'all. I haven't seen one crash out nigga. Now Nashville, and I'm talking to Nashville, Tennessee, because he's in Nashville doing this. I remember when I was in Nashville, I said something about Nashville. The city was on fire talking about what they gonna do to me.
For anyone unfamiliar with Chud The Builder, he built his online following primarily within far-right and extremist internet communities by live streaming himself in public spaces and deliberately provoking racially charged confrontations, regularly hurling racial slurs, including the N-word, directly at black people. Now, what makes this particularly striking is that Charleston White, of all people, ended up being one of his biggest supporters, openly backing Chud The Builder, defending what he was doing, all while sitting on camera wearing a Black is Love t-shirt. And that right there is exactly why a lot of people believe Charleston White is simply playing a character online. Because there's genuinely no way to watch that and conclude it's sincere. The contradiction speaks for itself. With that said, let's go ahead and get into what you actually came here for, the reported updates and potential new charges surrounding Lil Durk, before we close things out.
Bad news for Lil Durk. Here's the specific incidents that they're going to add. At some point, these charges are coming. In February 26, so 4 months ago or whatever, the government withdrew its proposed Rule 44B evidence concerning the 2022 Chicago incident, so they withdrew it. They got rid of it. They referred to it as the Chicago incident on May 13th, so 7 days ago. The government informed defense counsel that it was considering seeking supplemental charges that would charge the Chicago 2022 incident and an incident from 2019 in Atlanta as direct evidence in this case. Oh shit. Here's an old video of mine about the 2022 Chicago incident. It's the murder of Stefan Mack. Here's a quick summary of what they think Durk did in 2022. CH1 is a snitch, by the way. Mack arrived at YPC at approximately 12:07 p.m. on January 27, 2022. At approximately 2:22 p.m., while Mack was still inside YPC, a 2014 black Chrysler sedan with tinted windows carrying the shooters drove into YPC's parking lot. The Chrysler was initially parked on the east side of the parking lot, facing YPC. At 2:25, Chrysler moved to the west side of the lot, facing eastward. The shooters remained in the Chrysler for approximately 40 minutes. These boys were in the car for 40 minutes.
One thing Charleston White genuinely knows how to do is work the internet to his advantage. So, do I actually believe he's giving his full, sincere support to Chud The Builder over Lil Durk? No. Do I think Charleston White privately views Lil Durk as a danger to society? Honestly, maybe. That one I can't completely rule out. But regardless, let's get into what's actually happening with Durk legally and whether any new charges were formally added to his case. And the answer is yes, there was a significant development. A federal grand jury in Los Angeles returned a superseding indictment, officially adding 2 new felony charges against Lil Durk, born Durk Devontae Banks, and naming him as a lead defendant. He had originally been taken into custody on a criminal complaint, but the superseding indictment now formally charges him with 3 federal counts: 1 count of conspiracy, a newly added felony, 1 count of using interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death, and 1 count of using, carrying, and discharging a firearm, including a machine gun, also a newly added charge. All of this sourced directly from the Department of Justice and CBS News. Now, some of those charges trace back to an alleged incident involving Lil Durk and the late King Von, specifically a shooting where the two reportedly robbed a man of a $30,000 pistol whipped him, and stole his Dodge Trackhawk.
In the 2022 case, Preston Powell took a plea deal. Mike City AJ pleads guilty, admits to having committed the murder with individual B in exchange for money from individual C. Sentence should be between 30 and 45 years. Now they talk about their murder again. Defendant and individual B were to shoot and kill victim A as consideration for the promise and agreement to pay a sum of money from individual C. Now common sense tells me individual C is Durk, and this kid is snitching on him. But I have no confirmation, but that's what common sense would say, right? Because they already were hinting at that in the paperwork previously. So this is fucking terrible for Durk. Now the 2019 Atlanta incident that they want to add charges for, I think is the Durk and Vaughn situation that they had happen, where they apparently shot someone, but I think these charges got dropped. Yes, the attempted murder involving Durk and Vaughn was dropped in 2022. Prosecutors accuse him of attempting to rob and shoot a man. Fonnie Willis dismissed the charges against Durk using prosecutorial discretion, meaning the state does not choose to continue prosecuting the case. Some online rumors claim investigators later viewed Vaughn as the primary shooter, but there's no official public court ruling saying that.
They say around 5 in the morning on February 5th, Lil Durk, whose real name is Durk Derek Banks, and his co-defendant Devontae Bennett were seen on camera involved in shooting Alexander Witherspoon, a person police say they knew.
They were hanging out. They went to the studio to make music.
The rapper and Bennett listened to the evidence against them in court. Police told the judge later that night the victim, Banks, Bennett, and others went to a nightclub, a gas station, and ended up in the parking lot of the Varsity. That's when Witherspoon said he was robbed and shot.
He said his chain was snatched off his neck, and he had $30,000 stolen from him, and they stole the vehicle he was driving.
Police say Banks was seen on tape shooting a gun.
You see Mr. Banks' arm out the window firing several shots at the victim, towards the victim.
Banks' attorney says this is a celebrity witch hunt.
Were it not for the celebrity status of these 2 individuals, then this would be an aggravated assault.
Banks released a single "Turn Myself In" the day he turned himself in. It's gotten almost 7 million views. The prosecutor charging this wasn't just a robbery and shooting, but gang activity. She put a Chicago detective on the stand to testify that Banks and Bennett are members of Chicago gangs.
Is it possible to continue your affiliation and even commit crimes when you move out of Chicago if you're in a different city or if a different area?
Yes, ma'am.
So I think this is the 2019 Atlanta incident that they're talking about, unless I'm missing one, which is very possible. But yeah, this is terrible news. Durk's trial.
Now, Lil Durk has pleaded not guilty to all counts. His legal team moved to have the indictment dismissed, arguing that the government's case lacked sufficient detail for them to build an adequate defense. However, U.S. District Judge Michael Fitzgerald denied that motion, ruling that the indictment satisfied all legal requirements necessary to proceed. That information comes courtesy of the Turner Law Firm for anyone who wants to look further into it. If convicted on these federal charges, Lil Durk and his co-defendants face a statutory maximum sentence of life in prison. Now, as many of you may have already heard, Charleston White has been vocal about wanting something far more severe. He's been pushing for the death penalty. And no, I don't genuinely believe Charleston White has that level of hatred in his heart for Durk. A lot of what he says is performance, plain and simple, entertainment. That said, the sentiment he's expressing isn't entirely unique to him. There are people out there who share that perspective, not necessarily out of personal animosity toward Durk, but out of frustration over the ongoing violence in Chicago and the belief that artists like him contribute to it culturally. Now, to be fair, you can't place that entirely on Durk's shoulders. The violence in Chicago didn't stop when he got locked up. That's a much deeper, more systemic issue. But hopefully things work out for him. Drop a comment, let it be known how you feel. Either way, you already know who it is. And on that note, I'm out.